Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Justin. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I want to talk about Dave Ramsey and his investment advice. Now, I am a big Dave Ramsey fan. In fact, I did a video recently of my wife and I getting out of debt. We paid off over $100,000 in debt, becoming debt free except for our mortgage. And a lot of that has to do with Dave Ramsey and his 7 baby steps. And so, if we didn't have those 7, well, the first 2, I guess, baby steps, we wouldn't be where we're at today. So I have huge respect for Dave Ramsey and his Dave Ramsey personalities from Chris Hogan and some of the other ones that he has. Now, I don't agree with everything Dave Ramsey talks about. I would say 95% of the stuff I agree with. But when it comes to investment strategy, overall, I don't agree with his advice. However, I did watch a video recently of his, and it made me kind of think a little bit. And there's some things in there that I actually do agree with that I want to share with you guys today. And this actually might be some really good discussion down in the comment section on what he's going to say, because he can be a little harsh sometimes if you haven't watched him. So I'm going to show you a couple of clips from the video I saw. And then I'll kind of give you kind of my opinion and what I think about what he is saying throughout the clip. So let's take a look.
Not one. And here's why. The average guy buying and selling single stocks, several studies backing this up. So you decide you're going to read the paper, or you're going to watch Bloomberg, or whatever you're going to do, and you're now a dadgum stock expert with your golfing buddy, and you're going to buy and sell single stocks, and you got a stock tip, and you're reading about this, and you're tracking that, and you think you've got an edge. The guy doing that, and it's almost always guys, by the way. For some reason, ladies are smarter than to do that, but guys will try that stuff. And the average guy doing that makes about 7% on his money. Lots of studies indicating that.
All right, so let's touch on a couple things real quick. So he did say that, it's mostly men that tend to take the more risk side of things. And I would actually say that that's probably true. But another thing he mentioned that is kind of interesting, he said that the average return is about 7% for people to invest in single stocks. And I think he's correct on that. And he's also correct that, the average, stock market return over really the last, I think it's like 40 years has been between, well, actually closer to 12%, it's between 10 and 12%. And so the average investor picking their own stocks is around 7%. So you're almost making half of what the actual market return is. So that is actually true. So let's keep going on.
In other words, you suck at it. Because if you had put that same amount of money in an S&P 500 no-load growth stock mutual fund, you would have made what the market makes, which is 11.5 or 12 over time. And so you're not going to, you don't beat the market.
All right, so let's stop it right there. So he did say, obviously, on average, the average investor makes about 7% on their returns. Now, I think it's too far saying that people, can't do it, that they can't beat the market. I don't think that's fair at all. In fact, my investment returns over the last year have been over 60%. I know that's a 1-year time frame, but I did not get lucky. You have to understand the businesses that you're invested in. That's number one. You have to understand the meaning of the company. You got to understand what industry they're in. You have to understand, what they're doing, what their growth rate is expected out to the future. Peter Lynch always talks about, someone should be able to sit down and talk to you. They say, okay, tell me why you're invested in Dropbox, for example. That person should be able to sit down for 5 minutes and tell you exactly why they're invested in Dropbox. Where people get into trouble is they're investing in companies. Usually it's on the short term, and they're trying to make quick money. Today is like a perfect example. The stock market was down. The Dow was down like 600 points. Even my portfolio was down 3%. I think I'm down like 5 or 6% in the last week on my portfolio in general, but I'm not worried at all. I understand the companies I invested in. I know where they're going. You have to have fundamental sound businesses that you own, and that's where you're going to make your money. So let's keep watching.
Having said all that, Ted, if you want to play it, because you just can't stand it, then don't put more than 10% of your net worth in a single stock. And in single stocks, because you're not going to keep up with the market on average. You're not going to do it. And if you do, it's a fishing story. It's the one time you went fishing and the one time you caught a big fish. And the bottom line is that over the scope of your life, the fishing story does not indicate that one time that you are a great fisherman. It just means one time you caught a big fish. That's all it means.
All right. So here's kind of my response to that. And I would say that, I do agree that most people in the market don't beat the stock market in general, right? However, I completely disagree with Dave Ramsey when he says that you will not beat the market. Like, he just basically 100%, you're not going to beat the market. That's just not the case at all. There's lots of people that actually beat the market, and they're invested in single stocks, including myself. And it always goes back to, you have to do your research, guys. Like, when I invest in a company, I'm going through their website, I'm reading their 10Q, I'm reading their 10Ks. I'm going on Seeking Alpha, I'm going on Yahoo Finance, I'm reading all the articles that are there. I by the time I invest in a company, I know everything about them. I know the management team. I've gone through the financials. I understand what their growth potential is going to be with the company. I know what the valuation of the company is. If you're investing in a company, you cannot tell me what the intrinsic value of that company is. That's where you kind of get into trouble, in my personal opinion. So when I invest in companies, I know what the intrinsic value is. I know what the margin of safety is for that company. And I'm actually buying it at 50% on the dollar. So in case I get that valuation wrong, it gives me a lot of leeway there. So, I completely disagree with Dave when he says that, people can't beat the market and you will not beat the market. Now, I'll say, if you're not doing your due diligence, if you're not doing your research on companies, that's where it runs into a problem. If you have a short-term philosophy, you're trying to get in and out real quick, more times than not, you will not beat the market. In fact, day traders on average lose 92% of the time. 9 out of 10 people lose money on short term. You might get one here or there, but over the long run, that usually doesn't work out. So those are my thoughts, guys. I would love to hear from you guys in the comment section. What do you think, about your investment strategies, single stocks? I invest in single stocks. That's all I do. I don't own any mutual funds or ETFs. Not to say those are bad. I think, if people don't want to put the time in into researching companies, I think ETFs, mutual funds are a great way to make money in the market. But if you want to have a better return, if you're not getting, I would say at least a 12% rate of return, I would say 15 actually. If you're not getting 15% rate of return per year, I think you need to go back and look at your philosophy on what you're doing and how you're investing and how you're researching companies overall. So those are my thoughts, guys. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comment section. What do you think of all this? What do you think about Dave Ramsey's thoughts on all this? What do you think about my thoughts? I'd love to hear from you guys. And you got some value out of this, hit the thumbs up button. It really helps out the channel, pushes out to more people. I appreciate you guys staying all the way to the end. You guys get the gold star. All right. Take care. God bless.